Good afternoon. Greetings from sunny southern Mozambique, October 1st, 2015. We decided we were going to put together a little short documentary for those of you who are going to be taking a look at the guitars that are coming up to the States next week, to kind of give you an idea of the story behind the guitars. Where we are on the coast of East Africa. We're about 100 meters off the beach here in beautiful Tofu Beach. We're about 500 kilometers north of the capital of Mozambique, which is Maputo. Right now we are standing in front of what was, until about 8 years ago, my home in Tofu. My home in Tofu is now the home of Craig Harburn and Nobina Morimoto, two dear friends of mine. And also the home of this young man here, Hesky, who is my beautiful son, Labrador, 14 years old. And I'm very, very fortunate and blessed that the last 5 years since I left Africa, I've been able to come down regularly, primarily to visit this one. Craig and Nobina, not only dear friends, but they're also the proud owners of Mr. Hesky here, who is dearly loved. Point of the story. This is where Craig started making his own guitars about 3 years ago. Tofu has always had a really strong musical core of musicians moving in and out of town, people who've lived here permanently. So a thriving local music scene. Some would say we're a dive town with a music problem. Craig started initially making guitars for himself. Very good with his hands, good woodworker, hard woodworker. And he also discovered that we've got a type of wood down here, African blackwood, which is very, very, very similar to Brazilian rosewood. About 1 year ago, after Craig's guitars started gaining some attention down here in Southern Africa, Craig brought on another dear friend of mine, Richie Van Wyk, and together they have now been making custom-made guitars from African blackwood for full-time for the last year. So what we'd like to do during this short documentary is tell you a little bit about the people behind the guitars, tell you more about the guitars in African blackwood, where they're coming from, and then we're going to put these guitars into your hands and you're going to let us know what we have. So let's have a look inside and meet the team. Come on, let's go, big dog. So here we are inside the cave at Custom Cave Guitars. What's great about this workshop is that it's naturally cooled by ocean breezes and usually stays balmy 97 degrees during the daytime. So beautiful workspace. This is Craig and Richie. We're going to be introducing you to them as we go along. But I think the first and most important question that I want to ask these guys, Craig, Richie, who's the better surfer?
My girlfriend.
Oh, there we go. She currently can't surf because she's 8 months pregnant. So that was a very diplomatic answer. Yeah. If I had to say their first love was guitar making, I'd be lying. Their first love is actually surfing. So, welcome to the cave.
Yeah. Cool. Welcome. Yeah. We are in the cave at Cave Custom Guitars. I'm Craig, Richie, Fernanda. This is the team. We make custom handled guitars in Mozambique for fun, really. But we started a while back. Obviously there was a need. It all starts with repairs. Obviously being where we are, there's no one that really repairs guitars in this area. And obviously start repairing, and it gets more and more complicated. Obviously the next logical step is to start building guitars. That coupled with the richness and the wealth of the natural timbers of Africa, and especially in Mozambique, it's a natural step. We are very fortunate with the timbers that we have here. So we focus on 3 timbers. One is this instrument here, which is made out of what we call panga panga. Very close cousin to another timber that's quite well known and well respected in the guitar industry, Wenge. Very similar. You probably wouldn't be able to tell it apart if you looked at it. but very great timber and an amazing tone wood. The other one is the one that this guitar is made out of. It's Bubinga, also known as Pau Rosa, also very well known and very well respected tone wood. The guitar that's currently on the table here is one we're making out of African blackwood, African rosewood, Bubinga, would they call it up north. An amazing wood. It's probably second only to Brazilian rosewood. An amazing tone, really stiff and strong. But not just that, it's absolutely beautiful. Difficult to work with, but once you've got through that, you have something special. We're at Cave Customs and we're going to talk about African blackwood. Probably the most sought after timber for guitar making. Probably very close second to the legendary Brazilian rosewood. But African blackwood, I think everyone knows, is a timber of excellent tonal properties. Being in Mozambique, it's fortunate for us as it grows in northern Mozambique, southern Tanzania. We also know it as Mupingu, African rosewood, African blackwood. Beautiful timber aesthetically. Sometimes you get that it just looks completely black, but obviously once you've cut it, it's got these beautiful deep purple hues to it, and once it's finished, these beautiful browns that come through the black on the timber. At Cave Customs, we are really lucky to be able to use it as standard on all our instruments, for our fretboards, our bridges, and as well as all of our binding and purfling lines. Because we get the timber in this form from the communities, and we have to cut it ourselves. Obviously there's a lot of timber that we can't use for the backs of the guitar or the fretboards, and this is all used for purfling and all our design work and our rosettes and so on. Here we're at Cave Customs and we are talking about Panga Panga, also known as Wenge. It's been around for quite some time and was and always has been well respected as a guitar tone wood, but I believe now is getting more and more respected as a wood that compares very favorably to some of the top rosewoods. Beautiful wood to look at. When it's cut slightly off the quarter sawn, you get these amazing patterns that come out. It's also known as partridge wood, and it's because of these beautiful patterns that are similar to the partridge feathers on the bird. The timber has an amazing tonal property. In Mozambique, there's the traditional instrument called the tembila, where on the bigger tembilas they have been using this timber for quite some time, for hundreds of years. And so here in Mozambique, the tonal properties are very well known and well respected. We are using it more and more on our instruments. It cuts well, it works well. Problem with the finishing, because of its porosity, it takes a lot of filling before you finish, but I believe it's that porosity that lends to its amazing tonal properties. On the quarter sawn, the timber, once finished, has really nice straight grain to it. This is an Afro-Latino model made with Panga Panga. Its tone is simply beautiful. Okay, so we are going to I'll introduce the other three timbers that we use for our guitars. The first one being, started with Bubinga. I think it's a well-known wood. Here in Africa they also call it Pau Rosa, a rosewood, but obviously it's not a true rosewood. Dalbergia, which is the true rosewood. Bubinga, beautiful wood, really striking colors. Once it's cut on the flat sawn, it has amazing patterns in it. But obviously for the strength of the guitar, all our timber has to be quarter sawn. Not just a beautiful wood to look at, it's a great tone wood. The percussion guys and drummers out there, I know it's becoming quite the wood to go to for high-end drum kits. And having heard the tone wood in action on a guitar, I can see why. Beautiful sound, beautiful tone and sustain. More importantly, the sustain. Just a beautiful wood. Other timber that we do use here as well is a Douglas fir. We here in southern Africa call it Oregon pine, but I believe it's not a true pine or fir. It's one of those timbers that stand proudly by themselves. I was very fortunate. I restored a building recently and I managed to salvage big Douglas fir beams that must have been 60 years old. And actually this top is one of those Douglas fir beams. This is the rest of it. I made that here, but we've salvaged a lot of it. I use it in the guitars. I use it a lot for bracing as well. It's a really light timber, but a lot of strength to it, very similar to the spruces. Its strength to weight ratio is great. In fact, it's used extensively in the aviation industry for that reason. But it's also got a beautiful color. It's got this wonderful honey golden color, very different to the spruces and the Engelmans, which has got that clean white color. It's just a great timber to have. And another timber that we are using is Jakarta. I'm not sure of perhaps the names. All these woods have different names wherever you go in the world, but we know it here as Jakarta. It's a beautiful dark wood. It's got about 1 to 1.2 on the janker. It's a heavy timber, but great tonal qualities. I'm not sure actually if it's been used before in guitar wood, but we've made one. This guitar here is actually made from Jakarta. On the quarter saw, beautiful uniform lines in it, the distinctive grain. It reminds me of some of the rosewoods in its appearance. If you cut it quarter sawn, it also comes out with some beautiful medallion rays that actually come out when it is quarter sawn. This one I actually built for myself using this timber as an experiment. That's why the back of the guitar I used it as a flat saw, just to get some of the character from the grain to come out. Obviously on guitars we don't normally use a flat saw, it's always quarter sawn, but I really enjoyed the grain patterns on this one, so I decided to use it on a guitar for myself just for an experiment. Again, also great wood, it's just got a great tone. The last timber that we use here is a mahogany. This is normal Natal mahogany. Grows here. There's a few different types of mahogany. I prefer this one. It's got a slightly better color to it, red. I mean, it's the humble mahogany, but it's proven itself over and over as a tone wood. You know, it doesn't have the pedigree of the rosewoods and any, but it can stand next to some of these timbers as far as sound is concerned. Obviously, it's very light and freely obtainable. As I said, it's a respectable timber that we use, although not in the same league as the rosewoods. Yeah, that's it.
Greetings, I'm Richie. I'm here at Cave Custom Guitars, co-founder. We've currently been going for about a year and a half, 2 years now, commercially. Basically, my story is I came here about 10 years ago on a surf holiday with a buddy of mine, and I pretty much just stayed ever since. During that time, in the 10 years, I started a dive career. I made my way up to dive instructor. Met a very good pal of mine and pretty much brother these days, Roy Google. Awesome guy, I'm sure you all know him anyway. And then during that time as well, over the last 5 or 6 years, I met Craig, and watching him play guitar along with his buddies pretty much inspired me to start playing guitar too. So I've been playing guitar now for the last 5 years. Definitely no Hendrix, that's for sure. Good. This here is the J200 from Gibson. We took it off those plans over there. Obviously, every guitar we've made has never really been entirely two-plan. We think that they definitely overbuilt. So this one here, she's a lot lighter. So we've thinned out the braces, and we've done laminating with blackwood and mahogany, which has allowed us to make this guitar a lot lighter for her size. The bridge is all African rosewood. All the pins are handmade as well from African rosewood. Saddles and nuts are obviously bone. We use the hip from cows because the bone is a lot more denser in that area. We have a lot of bindings on this one. You can see this one has at least 5-line binding. So a lot of work went into this one. It's mainly mahogany and African rosewood. This is the rosette as well. We've gone with the herringbone design, which is a trade secret really. Can't tell you how we do that, but it's a really cool effect. We do the inlays as well. This is African shield there. So we just wanted to represent Africa in this one. Nice inlay on the back. It's just got a final polish now, so we're just cleaning her up. We have bone on the heel bone as well, on the heel caps, which gives it a really cool look. So we have various inlays: blackwood, mahogany, punga, or otherwise known as wenge. This whole guitar is made from punga, or in the West we would call it wenge. We have a mahogany neck. Obviously this is all African rosewood as well, so it's not ebonized at all. This is pure African rosewood. Head plates as well, all the veneers is all African rosewood with mahogany lining, which gives it a very cool color contrast, I think, and it looks super cool.
Okay, I'm going to introduce our Mama Africa guitar. This is some specific information to the lucky person or persons that will be playing this into the future. This is a model we call the Mama Africa, based very loosely on the jumbos, and in particular the J200 and J45 ranges. It's a big instrument, but only of called a Mama Africa. Beautiful sound. It's got a great projection, obviously with the volume in it. Just on the instrument, again, we've got a Sitka spruce top. The back and sides are punga. Standard on our instruments are the blackwood fretboard and bridge, as well as all the veneers, the binding and purfling. On this instrument, we've again done some experimentation and on laminated braces. The back will have a blackwood mahogany laminated brace. I've also laminated the X brace on the top to give it a little bit more strength. It's got the 13 gauge strings on it, and to be able to reduce the size and the weight of the other braces. So it's got a laminated fur X brace as well as the two tone braces. The finger braces and the rest of the braces are single piece. It also has a blackwood bridge plate as well as the top reinforcing plate. Again, standard with these instruments are our Fishman Matrix blend pickups. And again, just the design, we've tried to keep it, we're inspired by the African geometric art that we see around in our everyday lives. The rosette, back of the guitar, and at the back stripe on the back. So have a look. All this is inspired. I think primarily we're making an instrument, and it needs to be clearly identifiable as a piece of African art, and I think that's what we are trying to achieve. Again, there's no synthetic material there. We use beef cattle bone that we get from the local abattoir, and for all the inlays, the saddle and the fret markers, everything else you see on there, it's natural, it's wood, and it's a beautiful instrument. Again, the top standard, we use the Gotar tuning heads. This one comes with the snakewood handles, and all the rest of the inlay and work, it's all local timber. Beautiful big instrument. Sounds good.